Samuel Bode Miller is a World Cup alpine ski racer from the United States. He is an Olympic and World Championship gold medalist, a two-time overall World Cup champion in 2005 and 2008, and the most successful male American alpine ski racer of all time. He is also considered one of the greatest World Cup racers of all time with 33 victories, one of 5 men to win World Cup events in all 5 disciplines. In November 2004, Miller became the 5th and last man to win World Cup races in the slalom, giant slalom, Super G, downhill, and combined A, and today he is the only skier with 5 or more victories in each discipline. In 2008, Miller and Lindsey Vonn won the overall World Cup titles for the first U.S. sweep in 25 years. He has won 6 medals in the Winter Olympics, the most of any U.S. skier, 2 silvers in Salt Lake City 2002, a gold, a silver and a bronze in Vancouver 2010 and a bronze in Sochi 2014. Miller is one of 5 skiers who have won Olympic medals in 4 different disciplines, matching the feats of Kshalandra Kopyright and female racers Anja Parkaransi Rson, Janica Kostelia and Katja Siezinger. He has won 6 discipline World Cup titles. During his career, Miller has also won 4 World Championships titles in 4 different disciplines and 1 silver medal in Super G. Early years: born in Easton, New Hampshire, to Joe Kenny and Woody Miller, Miller grew up in Franconia, a small community in the heart of New Hampshire's ski region that borders the Cannon Mountain ski area. His family, including older sister Killa, younger sister Wren, and younger brother Shalone, lived on 450 acres of land in a forest, where his parents celebrated solstices, in a log cabin without electricity or indoor plumbing. He was raised a vegetarian. He was homeschooled until the 3rd grade, but after his parents divorced, he began attending public school. He applied for and got a scholarship to the Carrabassett Valley Academy, a ski racing academy in Maine. His mother's parents owned and started the Tamarack Tennis Camp, and he has played tennis and soccer since childhood. Miller first gained widespread recognition after winning 2 silver medals at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics in the giant slalom and combined events, though he had been known to skiing fans since he burst onto the international scene as an 18-year-old in 1996. Miller is known for his reckless style, often risking crashes to increase his chances of winning a given race. In his book, Bode, Go Fast, Be Good, Have Fun, Miller stated that his goal as a skier was not to win medals, but rather to ski as fast as the natural universe will allow. In 2006, Miller also became famous for his reclusive personality and his attention-getting statements. Ski racing career 1998 to 2001 seasons Miller not only first appeared in the World Cup during the 1998 season but also represented the United States in the 1998 Nagano Olympics, competing in both of the technical disciplines. In 1999, he also competed in Super G and represented the U.S. in all 3 events at the World Ski Championships at Beaver Creek, with a best finish of 8th in slalom. He finally achieved a podium in a giant slalom at Val d'Isere on December 17, 2000, but then only competed in Super G at the 2001 World Ski Championships. He crashed during the downhill portion of the combined and torn knee ligaments, which ended his competition. 2002 season During the season, Miller began regularly competing in downhill, making him a 5-event skier on the World Cup circuit, although he was still considered a technical specialist. Miller won his first World Cup race on December 29, 2001, taking the giant slalom at Val d'Isere, and then followed it up the next day with another win in the slalom at Madonna di Camplio. He would go on to win 2 more slalom races in January 2002, along with a pair of silver medals at the 2002 Winter Olympics in February, thus establishing himself as the top racer on the U.S. ski team. Miller won his first ever Olympic medal on February 13, in the combined event. He was 15th after the downhill portion, losing 2.44 seconds to Kshalandra Kopyright. He then put a remarkable second run of the slalom portion to finish second overall, just 0.28 behind Armout. Later on, Miller won a second silver medal, this time in the giant slalom where he lost only to Stefan Eberharter of Austria. Miller was on the verge of winning medals in all disciplines he had entered at the Olympics, while he was second after first run of the slalom race. At the starting gate before his final run, Miller had already a huge advantage of 1.79 seconds over then-leading Czar copyright Bastien Lemies. Instead of having a careful run to secure at least another silver medal, Miller decided to push for a gold. The tactics resulted in a fall and missed gate, which caused him to finish far behind the medal positions. This was his final season on Fischer skis. He switched to Rossignol following the season's completion. 2003 season Miller challenged for the 2003 World Cup overall title but fell just short, finishing second to Stefan Eberharter of Austria. At the 2003 World Championships in St. Moritz, Switzerland, Miller won 3 medals, gold in giant slalom and combined, and silver in Super G. He also won 2 other giant slaloms during the season. 2004 season In the 2004 season, Miller won World Cup titles in 2 disciplines, giant slalom and combined, but placed 4th in the competition for the overall title. He won 6 World Cup races, 3 giant slaloms, 2 combines and 1 slalom. After the season, Miller switched to atomic skis. 2005 season Miller won his first overall World Cup title, defeating Austrians Benjamin Rick and Hermann Mayer. He made history early in the season by winning at least 1 race in each of the 4 standard World Cup disciplines, slalom, giant slalom, Super G and downhill. In winning a slalom in Sestriere on December 13, he joined Marc Girardelli of Luxembourg, who had been the first man to accomplish this feat in 1989. Miller accomplished the feat in less time than any previous ski racer, male or female. The victory was his 6th of the season after only 10 races. At the 2005 World Championships in Bormio, Italy, he won 2 gold medals, in Super G and downhill. In the downhill portion of the combined, he lost a ski 16 seconds into the race, but decided to continue down the course nevertheless at speeds up to 83 km per hour on one ski, before sliding out near the bottom nearly 2 minutes later. 2006 season Despite the hype surrounding Miller prior to the 2006 Winter Olympics, every one of Miller's 5 medal bids in the Turin Games fell short. He finished a disappointing 5th in the downhill, was disqualified a Euro while in first place at the time a Euro during the second leg of the combined event, failed to finish the Super G, tied for 6th in the giant slalom, and had another DNF after missing a gate in the first run of the slalom. Nevertheless, Miller won 2 races during the season and placed 3rd for the season's overall World Cup title. At the 2006 U.S. National Championships following the World Cup season, Miller won the downhill and giant slalom titles. He switched to head skis following the season's completion. Miller had prolotherapy treatments to the ligaments in his knee or knees in February 2006, along with other ski team members, Brian Friedman and Eric Schlippe. 2007 season Miller had 4 first-place finishes in the early going of the 2007 World Cup. For the season, Miller finished 4th overall and won the Super G title. On May 12, 2007, Miller announced that he was leaving the U.S. ski team. He followed the precedent set by slalom skier Kristina Kozik, who left the U.S. ski team following the 2000 season and raced the next 6 years for the U.S. as an independent. 2008 season Miller clinched his 2nd overall championship at the World Cup Finals in Bormio, Italy. He missed a chance to also win the season's downhill title when bad weather prevented the season's last race from being run. Miller got his first win of the season at the Stelvio downhill in Bormio in December. On January 13, he won for the 2nd year in a row the legendary Wengen downhill, matching Phil Maher as the most successful American skier with 27 World Cup victories. On January 20, he broke this record by winning the Hahnenkamm combined event at Kitzbühel 1/4 hell. On January 27, he won the first Super combined in his career in Chamonix and took the lead in the World Cup standings. On February 3, He won the Super Combined in Val d'Isère, France, and took the combined title. On March 1, Bode got his sixth win of the season at Kvatel, Norway, cementing his lead in the overall standings and closing to 5 points on Didier Cuche in downhill. At the end of this impressive season he was crowned overall champion. 2009 season Miller responded to his World Cup success in 2008 with the worst season of his professional career, leading some to speculate that he might be burned out. Miller failed to win a race for the first time in 8 years and had only 2 official podium finishes, both seconds in downhill, to show for his season. Miller suffered a torn ligament in his left ankle in a December fall at Beaver Creek, which may have been a factor in his performance. He took a 4-week break from competition in February and March, the first World Cup races that he had failed to start in 3 years, and missed the end of the World Cup season, although he still had a chance to win the season's downhill title. He said that the fire goes away after a while, and he hinted at retirement. 2010 season After returning to the U.S. ski team, Miller missed much of the early part of the 2010 season due to an ankle sprain during a volleyball game with other members of the team. However, he returned by winning a World Cup Super Combined event in Wengen on January 15, 2010, for his first victory in nearly 2 years. He made the U.S. team for the 2010 Winter Olympics in late 2009 and was selected to compete in all 5 events, despite his lack of training. In his first race, after several delays due to warm weather and poor snow conditions, Miller won a bronze medal in the downhill, the first American to win an Olympic medal in downhill since Tommy Moe won gold in 1994. Miller's time was 1:54.40, 900ths of a second behind gold medalist Didier Daur copyright Fargo, and 200ths behind Axel and Svindal, who took the silver. The time difference between the gold and bronze medals was the smallest in Olympic downhill history. He then won a silver in the Super G, giving him 4 Olympic medals, more than any other American alpine racer. On February 21, 2010, he won his first Olympic gold medal in the Super Combined. After the downhill portion of the race, Miller was in 7th place, but finished 3rd in the slalom portion, giving him a total time of 2:44.92 to finish first overall. Miller then failed to finish either the giant slalom or slalom, and he took the rest of the season off due to continuing problems with his ankle injury. 2011 season Miller followed his Olympic success with a mediocre season, but still managed to finish top 3 in 3 occasions. He was 3rd at the city event in Munich, 2nd to Didier Cuche at Kitzbühel's downhill and 3rd in Super G at Hinterstodder. He started World Championships in Garmisch-Partenkirchen with typical Bode-like fashion at Super G race. He was leading the field despite losing a pole midway through the course, however he lost his balance coming out of a bend at the bottom, slowed down and stood up as he crossed the finish line on 12th position. 2012 season Miller earned the 33rd World Cup win of his career with a downhill victory in Beaver Creek. He topped young Swiss sensation Beat Fuse with 0.04 of a second. He also managed to finish 2nd in Super G at Val Gardena, 3rd in a Super Combined event in Wengen and 2nd in a downhill race in Chamonix, where he was 0.01 of a second behind Klaus Krul. 2013 season After undergoing a knee surgery in spring 2012, Miller decided not to rush his comeback to the slopes and announced in January 2013 that he would skip the entire season to ensure a completely healthy run for his 5th Olympics in 2014. 2014 season At the beginning of his comeback season, Miller unexpectedly finished 2nd at Beaver Creek's giant slalom, behind only fellow American Ted Ligeti, his first podium in the discipline since 2007. Miller's hopes of winning his first downhill race at Kitzbühel Quarterhell came up short after he made a significant mistake in the middle section of the course to eventually finish 3rd. Next day he ended up 2nd only behind Didier Daur copyright Fargo in Super G at the same mountain. Miller began the Winter Olympics by winning 2 out of 3 training sessions before the downhill. However, as sunny conditions of the training days changed into a cloudy race day, he was not able to keep up the momentum and finished in 8th position. He was then unable to defend his title from the previous Olympic Games as he finished sixth in the super combined event. On February 16, 2014, Miller became the oldest Olympic medalist in alpine skiing history, by winning a bronze medal in the Super G race. He shared a third-place podium with Jan Hoodke of Canada. By collecting his sixth Olympic medal, Miller moved to the second position on the all-time list of Olympic male medalists in alpine skiing, only behind Kjell Copyright Armout who won 8 medals. In his last race of the Olympics, Miller finished 20th in the giant slalom, won by U.S. teammate Ligeti. After the Olympics, Miller decided to continue competing until the end of the season for the first time since 2008. At the World Cup Finals in Lenzerheide, he gained his fourth podium of the season while finishing third in the Super G race. Miller finished the season ranked 8th overall, his best in 6 years. 2015 season. On November 17, Bode Miller announced that he would undergo outpatient back surgery to alleviate the pain and discomfort he had felt since the end of the previous season. After attending official trainings to the downhills in both Wengen and Kitzbühel one-quarter hell, but skipping the races, Miller was trying to make a comebacks for the 2015 World Championships held at Vail/Beaver Creek, Colorado. On February 5, he crashed during the Super G race, after catching a gate. During the crash his leg was cut by an edge of his ski and he suffered a torn hamstring tendon. The injury forced him to withdraw from the rest of the championships. World Cup results. Season titles. 8 titles a Euro. Season standings. Olympic results. Miller is one of the most successful alpine ski racers in Olympic history. He participated in 5 Winter Olympics, from 1998 through 2014. Miller had 19 starts in all 5 alpine disciplines and won 6 medals, including 1 gold in the super combined event in 2010. He is the only American ski racer in history to win medals at 3 different Olympics. World Championships results. Publicity, press and promotions. 2002 Olympics. Miller's fame was partly spawned by his 2002 Winter Olympics slalom performance. He had already won 2 silver medals and was in line for a third when he missed a gate. Instead of stopping, he hiked back up the course to retry the gate and finish. That performance established Miller's reputation as a competitor who cares more about the way he skis rather than winning medals. He admitted that after the race. "It's the Olympics, you know. If I had backed off and I came down in 5th place or 6th place, I think I would have been really disappointed. I was going for the win. If it was somewhere else, maybe I would have had the ability to hold back a little bit more. But I want to go out and race my best race in front of my home crowd." 2006 Olympics controversy. The good feeling generated by Miller's 2002 Olympic performance was quickly dissipated in 2006. On the program 60 Minutes, in January 2006, Miller described the act of skiing wasted, and compared it to lawlessly driving while intoxicated. Throughout the Olympics, Miller said, "I'm just trying to ski in a way that's exciting for me." In an interview shortly after his last race, he said that it had been an awesome 2 weeks, and that he got to party and socialize at an Olympic level. After an unapologetic Miller interview with Tom Brokaw, Bob Costas concluded in a primetime editorial that Miller might finally get what he wanted, to be unceremoniously forgotten. Miller received negative coverage in the American and international media. Editorials focused on his attitude of simply not caring about the Olympics or about his performance. Many perceived his party at an Olympic-level attitude as a violation of the Olympic spirit. When Nike's 2006 advertising campaign urged consumers to join Bode, Washington Post sports writer Sally Jenkins asked, "Where? At the bar?" in reference to his well-publicized nights on the town in Sestriere. He was even called the biggest bust in Olympic history for his performance. Some have argued that Miller's management and PR team were partly to blame for his crash-and-burn publicity, pointing out that they facilitated the media blitz in the months leading up to the Olympics. The overexposure was bound to backfire knowing Miller's uneven commitment to performing. Miller himself said, "The Olympic hype is going to be a tough thing for me to manage. My actions are not always consistent. I'm super mellow and laid back, but I'm always thinking and running 100,000 scenarios through my head. Sometimes I'm disciplined, but I like to be a total slacker too. I party hard, but I train hard. People are going to try to figure me out and figure out my motivations, and it's going to be a circus." 2010 Olympics success equals. Miller's success in the 2010 Olympic Games has been contrasted with his 2006 results. Miller's explanation for his belated success was simple: most likely eat a Euro unregistered trademark S because I decided that a Euro unregistered trademark S what I wanted to do a Euro at the 2010 Games. His coaches stated that he helps inspire them, a very different attitude from that of 4 years previously. Miller himself said that the difference was that in 2006, his role as poster boy for the Olympics, after the corruption scandals associated with the 2002 Winter Olympics, was the absolute thing I despise the most in the world, and really draining on my inspiration, my level of passion. Ultimately, the publicity had been happening for a year, and it was just too much. By contrast, in 2010, he noted that he was not so proud of the medals themselves but of the absolutely amazing feeling when you magically ski at your absolute best. He ended the 2010 Olympic Games as the most successful American skier and athlete overall. 2014 Olympics emotions equals. Miller's surprisingly dominating performance in trainings to the downhill race helped to create a hype among press and fans, with his teammate Mark O'Sullivan saying that it was his race to lose, and rival Kjell Jansrud describing Miller's performance in trainings as epic. Just a day before the race, Miller himself claimed that the idea is to be unbeatable, and I want to win. After finishing disappointing 8th in the race, Miller pointed various reasons of his failure including warmer temperatures, poor visibility and a need of an eye surgery, while U.S. ski team coach Sasha Riarik suggested that Bode wanted it too much. The change in Miller's attitude comparing to his previous Olympics showed after he won a bronze medal at the Super G race when he admitted that some days, like I said, medals don't need a Euro unregistered trademark T matter. Today was one of the days where it does matter. Moment of controversy appeared after the race as NBC's reporter Kristen Cooper, while interviewing Miller, kept asking him about his dead brother until he broke down in tears. Miller however defended Cooper afterwards on several occasions, saying that I know she didn't a Euro unregistered trademark T mean to push, and I don't need a Euro unregistered trademark T blame her at all. Selected press reaction equals. According to John Canzano, Oregonian reporter, Miller is generally unpopular with American reporters who cover skiing. One referred to him in 2009 as a tedious bore given to statements that smack of hypocrisy. Another said that Miller's behavior had alienated him from pretty much everyone but those who mindlessly celebrate rebels simply for their rebellion, however misplaced it might be. In book, film, and game equals. Miller's autobiography, Bode, Go Fast, Be Good, Have Fun, co-written with his friend Jack McEnany, was published by Villard Random House on October 18, 2005. Miller also became the first American alpine skier since Tommy Moe to endorse a video game when Bode Miller Alpine Racing was released for mobile phones on January 30, 2006, followed by Bode Miller Alpine Skiing for PlayStation 2 and Windows. In 2006, Miller was the subject of a biographical film produced by the Karue Film Institute, Flying Downhill, which looks at the people and the place Miller comes from, and where exactly each fits within his philosophy. Chosen ski sponsors equals. Miller has used a variety of skis during his World Cup career. He originally started off on K2 skis, then raced on Fischer through the 2002 season. He switched to Rossignol for 2 seasons, then Atomic for the following 2. In June 2006, he moved over to Head, along with Hermann Mayer of Austria and Didier Kusch of Switzerland. Team America. In May 2007, Miller left the U.S. ski team and raced independently for his personally financed Team America for 2 seasons. This allowed him more control of his training, equipment, staff, and sponsors. With fewer distractions, increased autonomy and responsibility, Miller improved his focus and won his second overall title. However, the next season was the worst of his career after he crashed hard in the Beaver Creek downhill injuring his heel, and Miller folded Team America at the end of 2009. Miller departed the 2009 season before its completion and rejoined the U.S. ski team in October 2009. Other sports. In 2002, Miller won ABC Sports Superstars competition, a televised event that pits athletes from different sports against one another in a series of athletic contests. In 2009, he competed in a Superstars team competition, which paired an athlete with a celebrity. Miller was paired with Paige Hemes and they finished in second place. On July 29, 2006, Miller signed a one-day contract to play baseball for the Nashua Pride. He went 0-2 with 2 strikeouts, however he did make an acrobatic catch in left field, which earned national attention by being featured by ESPN, among others. The team said it would donate at least $5,000 from ticket sales for the game to Miller's Turtle Ridge Foundation, which will give the money to the Lance Armstrong Foundation. On July 23, 2007, Miller again signed a one-day contract, to play the first 3 innings July 24, 2007, for the Nashua Pride, to raise money for charity. On June 3, 2010, Miller competed for a spot in the 2010 U.S. Open through the new national playoff system introduced by the USTA. The winner of the men's and women's playoff championships will receive a wild card entry into the Open qualifying tournament. He lost 6-4, 6-2 to Eric Nelson Cortland in an opening match at sectional playoffs in Hawaii. Personal life: Miller has a daughter, Naesin, with Chanel Johnson, and a son, Samuel, with Sarah McKenna. In late 2012, Miller began a protracted custody battle with McKenna, after she moved to New York City during her pregnancy in order to attend Columbia University, prompting Miller to file for a petition to establish parental relationship in California. In September 2012, Miller announced his engagement to professional beach volleyball player and model Morgan Beck. They married on October 7, 2012, in San Diego, California. References: Miller, Bode. Jack McInerney. Bode, Go Fast, Be Good, Have Fun. Villard Books. ISBN 1-4000-6235-7. External links: Bode Miller at the International Ski Federation, FIS-ski.com. A World Cup season standings. Bode Miller, ski-db.com. Results. Bode Miller, Bode Miller at Sports Reference. Olympic results, US ski team. Profile. Bode Miller, head skis. Teams. Bode Miller, Bode Miller at the Internet Movie Database, Bode Miller race photos. Zimbio high-res photos of Bode Miller on Twitter. Profiles. Bode Miller at the United States Olympic Committee. Articles. Bode, Bob Simon profiles. America's top-ranked skier. CPSNews.com, January 2006, The Heroism of Bode Miller. Condeed's Notebooks, February 2006, When Fame and Talent Collide. The New York Times, February 2006, Love in Bode No Matter What. AspenTimes.com, March 2006, Deconstructing Bode. Hall of Fame Magazine.com, Bode Miller to go independent of U.S. ski team. Skirracing.com reports on Bode's decision to leave the national team. May 2007. Videos. Miller trades technique for high speed. NewYorkTimes.com, interviews, race footage and TV commercials. Broadbandsports.com.